Hello everyone, I'm Stacy Calloway. I'll have those stories and more on this edition of ONTV News. The Lake Orion DDA is always coming up with ideas and events to lure visitors into downtown Lake Orion. The DDA offered a little fire and ice throughout February and residents responded. What an amazing event. Emotions were running high as athletes took the field. And now that the inaugural event is officially over, let's play ball. Reporting from Friendship Park, I'm Stacy Calloway for ONTV News. As we close in on the one-year anniversary of Michigan's pandemic shutdown, many businesses and organizations have suffered. Stores and restaurants have since been allowed to open at a limited capacity. But performance venues haven't been open at all during the pandemic, and they are desperate for assistance from the government to survive. As protests nationwide are starting to subside, racial tensions are at a heightened level as witnessed at this Chipotle restaurant parking lot in Orion Township. A Clarkston couple is facing charges after pulling a gun on a family in the parking lot of a local restaurant. The story has put Orion Township in the national spotlight following an incident some say was racially motivated. Due to the ongoing pandemic, Orion Area Chamber of Commerce events have been few and far between, but the organization recently helped one local business celebrate a milestone. Thanks, Joe. And finally, in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Oxford Orion Fish Food Pantry has adapted to continue to serve those in need in the community in a safe way. There are many ways you can support the organization, including adopting a shelf to keep it stocked throughout the year. Following the May 25th death of George Floyd while being restrained by Minneapolis police officers, protests and rallies have spawned in cities across the globe. It was just a matter of time before the movement reached Lake Orion. On the evening of Friday, June 5th, hundreds of people arrived at the parking lot in the Lake Orion Plaza on M24 to take part in the Black Lives Matter Rally for Peace.
And like everyone else, I've been on social media and I've seen all of the crazy stuff going on and all the injustices going on. And you know, this has been going on for a really long time, but it's not till now that people are really starting to talk about it.
This is not the first instance of police brutality, and it will not be the last. So if you're here today, you need to be here every day for Black Lives. If you're here today, you need to vote for people who care about Black lives.
You have the power to change people's lives in the slightest way or in the most major way by doing the slightest action, by saying hello, by smiling, by being courteous. Yes, you want to call out racism whenever it happens, but don't let that be the extent of your interaction or standing up for people that look like me. Treat me just like I would treat you. Treat me like I'm a human being.
Following the speeches, the crowd began to march north on M24 toward the village of Lake Orion with police officers and Oakland County deputies providing an escort. Leading the way was Lake Orion Police Chief Harold Rossman. As the crowd entered the downtown area, they turned into Children's Park, where they made their way to Front Street. They followed Front Street back to Broadway, then made their way south on M24 back to the Lake Orion Plaza.
Black Lives Matter! It's misunderstood what Black Lives Matter is. I think people think it's a fight against cops, and I think it's a fight against racism, because I've been speaking to the sheriff and the LOPD, and they've been very kind and courteous, and they are in full support of Black Lives Matter, and they're going to be here like passing out water and helping out in any way that they can. So they offered to close down the roads if we decide to march. So I think people need to understand, like, we need to work together. In Flint, Michigan, I've been seeing a lot of the videos of the sheriff, taking off his uniform and just walking with the people, and that's what we're trying to, that's the environment we're trying to insinuate, is that we can stand together and make a change that way. And hopefully the police officers will be a role model for others in the country, showing their support as well.
As you can see, things are winding down here at the Peace Rally in Lake Orion. People are headed south. People from different backgrounds, different age levels, all came together fighting for one cause, and that is solidarity against racial injustice, systemic racism, and police brutality. Reporting from the Peace Rally in Lake Orion, I'm Stacy Calloway for ONTV News. As nationwide protests are starting to subside, racial tensions are at a heightened level, as witnessed at this Chipotle restaurant parking lot in Orion Township. The incident took place on Wednesday, July 1st at 6 p.m. outside the Chipotle restaurant on Baldwin Road. According to Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard, Jillian Woostenberg was exiting Chipotle when she allegedly bumped into a female entering the restaurant. Verbal exchange took place, which eventually led to Woostenberg retrieving a gun from the vehicle occupied by her husband, aiming it at a mother and her 2 daughters. The incident was caught on video and was widely circulated on social media. On Thursday, July 2nd, Sheriff Bouchard held a press conference to explain how his deputies responded and talked about what led the prosecutor to charge the couple with felonious assault.
So our job, first and foremost, is to keep everyone safe. The deputies arrived on scene and they did that. They stabilized the scene, initially handcuffing the woman, taking the weapons into custody, and then beginning an investigation. They were presented with 2 very different stories from 2 different groups, both sides claiming they felt extremely threatened. Those stories go to state of mind and intent, which are critical in any criminal prosecution. The deputies on scene felt the need for further investigation for the totality of circumstances, and when I came in this morning, that's what hit my desk. I learned about this and I immediately ordered all necessary resources to do just that, to find any other information and investigate the totality of circumstances so that a proper investigative package could be completed with all the facts that we could gather. Again, back to the process, once we do a full and complete investigation, that is presented to the prosecutor for charging decisions. And as I mentioned, I immediately this morning ordered investigators to go out and make sure that the package was done and completed. They presented that to the prosecutor early this afternoon. They have reviewed the file and the availability, the currently available video, and they have charged both the driver and the passenger with felonious assault, a 4-year felony.
The sheriff acknowledged that tensions are running high across the country and pleaded with the community to de-escalate the situation should you find yourself in similar circumstances.
Say this, we are asking and expect our police, and rightfully so, to de-escalate every situation they possibly can. And we should be doing that. But I would also say that that needs to happen with us individually.